All right, sir, are you ready for some big fights?
I love big facts. And here we go. Royal went, for all you out there betting last week, Royal went 50-50. Wasn't too bad here, but I'm pretty sure this is going to take a deep dive in the wrong direction. Go ahead, sir.
Here we go. Number 25, Twilight World. So the code phrase, "we live in a Twilight world," is used several times in the film, and it just so happens to be a comical coincidence that Robert Pattinson is best known for his role in the film.
Twilight.
Number 24, The Little Things. In the film, the colors red and blue, they're used to differentiate between forward motion and inverted. Red moving forward, blue moving backwards. Whenever the focus is on the blue team, the score actually changes to include a motif which is played backwards. Just little subtle things. And
Things subtle little.
sticking to that red-blue theme, the Warner Brothers and Syncope images shaded red and blue in the opening logos.
5 quick seconds to that. We both know that they never let anybody messing with that logo. So to me, hey, he has some pull over there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll get to his pull. This motherfucker has destroyed so many.
Oh my God.
All right, number 23. I love Christopher Nolan, but man, does he hate an IMAX camera. 23, Clever Motherfucker. During the climactic battle scene, the red team and blue team both have 10 minutes to complete the final mission. So you have 10 forwards, 10 backwards,
Which equals TENET.
Crazy.
How does the commercial go? Brilliant. It's lit.
Number 22, and a lot of these are going to be kind of throwbacks to hip-hop references as the titles, and that will come
Two hops this time.
which Christopher Nolan in Tenet, this was the first time he used a hip-hop track in the credits of his film.
Growing, I see. Culturally. I like that, Christopher. Or Sea-Dog.
Number 22, reverse! There are no green screens used in Tenet, just practical effects. This includes the inversion sequences. When Christopher Nolan chose to shoot each scene twice, once moving forward, once with the actors doing everything backwards. And
Hard, man. It's hard.
number 21, repeat offender. Actor Jeremy Theobald, coming up later in the show, appears briefly as a steward in the kitchen scene with Michael Caine. Jeremy Theobald went to school with Nolan, where they made a few short films together. He also produced and played the lead in Nolan's first feature, Following, as well as a small role in Batman Begins. And Tenet, of course.
Great job.
Number 20, Bat Signal. On the first day of shooting Tenet, Robert Pattinson received the news that he'd been cast as Bruce Wayne in The Batman. An interesting coincidence, considering, Christopher Nolan's fantastic
Batman Begins.
and
The Dark Knight.
Yes,
There
please
we go.
keep going. The whole damn trilogy.
Goodness, why so
The
serious?
best contribution. Number 19, All About the Washingtons. Tenet is the most expensive film ever made to have a person of color as the solo lead.
Well, guys, I was going to say that, so
And
let me.
damn near one of the most expensive films ever
Never
made.
made.
Period.
Yeah, and in case you didn't hear him, because that was on my paper, Tenet with a $205 million budget is the most expensive film to have an African American as the solo lead, not as a group, not as a cast, as a solo lead. Shout out to John David, Big Money Baller Washington.
And another check in Tenet's just doing first things, Pandemic Cinema, number 18. Tenet is the first major studio film to be released during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, and I'm just letting you know I was set up for this next fact. He think I can't read the good thing I know how to foreshadow. So yes, this did happen, but go ahead, read it. When I was in the film, I asked him, we were in a particular scene, and the scene was just so clear and pristine, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And I did lean over and ask him, and I whispered it, okay, my man car got put. I whispered like, hey, you think that's green screen? Almost as if Christopher Nolan was sitting next to me, and you replied with?
Number 17, It Must Be Fake. So we are talking about that scene where John David Washington's protagonist character meets with Kat on the terrace atop the cliff. It is in fact real, and when we were sitting there, I said, this, knowing Christopher Nolan, it must be real, but it looks so good that
it looked fake.
It looked beyond real.
It's like that scene from A Few Good Men when they're driving around Guantanamo Bay, and I'm like, that's a painting in the background, but it wasn't. This was real. IMAX, shout out.
Shot it in Italy somewhere. Number 16, Lame Editing. This was Christopher Nolan's first time working with editor Jennifer Lame, best known for her work on Hereditary.
Wasn't it the guy he normally worked with working on Dune?
No,
Durkin?
that was the composer.
Oh.
Lee Smith, the editor he usually works with, was working on 1917.
1917. Thank you. Good pull. Good pull.
So, real quick while we're right here, because Hereditary has just come up. Do you wanna
No, I don't.
speak on your experience with Hereditary?
All I know is there's another movie that came out after that you told me about that you like, and I'm just gonna stop there. My mom told me if you don't have anything good to say about anything, don't say anything about it.
That's gonna be on the season 2 then.
Well,
I'm
I'll
just
see
making notes.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Number 15 is Timeless. While much of the imagery in the film has been brewing in Christopher Nolan's brain for at least 20 years prior to making the movie, he worked on the specifics of the screenplay for about 6 years. A story that quite appropriately spans through time.
I love it. I know what it's like to have an idea in your head. Shout out Bill the Collector. See you soon.
Number 14, Road Trip. About 1.6 million feet of IMAX footage was shot for the film. This broke Christopher Nolan's own record, which was already in the number 1 spot. 1.6 million feet. That's 303 miles of film. That's enough film to stretch from New York right past the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia, through Baltimore, over Capitol Hill, across the Potomac River, and past the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., strolling down 395 on the 95 South into Virginia, where it would finally f***ing stop 5 hours away in the unincorporated community of Ruther Glen. What the f***?
So what you're saying is that it's long.
It is so much film. 1.6 million feet. That's
a lot
crazy.
Of feet. Pizza.
Number 13, camera casualties. So this is what I was talking about later.
Do you even need to read this? You've been telling me about this for years. Do you even need to read this? Speak from the heart, man. Speak from the heart. Stop.
No, I do need to read this because I have the numbers in here, and I'm gonna put things up on the screen to show, like, rest in peace to these poor cameras.
All right, let me look at them.
Christopher Nolan trusted all right. So I already told you about the Dark Knight issues. I didn't even know that he put more cameras at risk in this one. Christopher Nolan trusted Robert Pattinson with way more than just a role he was tasked with bringing to life. Robert Pattinson was also responsible for the life or death of one of the most expensive cameras in the world. Pattinson revealed that he did much of his own stunt driving for the film, including one particular sequence where he and John David Washington were in a BMW with an IMAX camera rigged to the hood. He could scarcely see anything through the windshield, and a slight turn left or right would result in the rig hitting the road. So that's on his last film. He lucked out. And actually, thank you to Robert Pattinson for not destroying
Hell of a driver.
the camera.
Hell of a driver.
Sorry, Christopher Nolan, not this time. Nolan is notorious for destroying the $500,000 IMAX. That's a $500,000 IMAX cameras.
So $500,000 is $500,000. Just want to be clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He sent one to camera heaven during The Dark Knight. In The Dark Knight Rises, another one bit the dust. In 2017's Dunkirk, he put one in a plane and then crashed it into the fucking ocean. He assumed that it would float long enough to allow them the chance to recover it. It sank instantly. Luckily, divers were able to recover it.
The dad.
Shockingly, it survived. Anything for the shot, I suppose.
Well, I just want to say real quick that in the Dunkirk, if he would have just hired John David Washington's father, who was in flight, that the plane wouldn't have sunk.
Yeah, I don't know, would it?
You saw what happened. He flew a plane inverted. L-C-L Royal. Don't slow that down and make me look bad.
So slow it down. Okay. Number 12, 2 tickets, please. The working title for Tenet was Merry-Go-Round.
Now, I actually did know that. When you think about it, normally when people do the fake titles, it's to completely throw you off. But when you're really thinking about it, round and round we go. Hey, round and round we go. That's what's actually happening in the film, round and round. So that's pretty smart.
Hey, the straight-to-DVD B movies out there, they're going to be knocking off Tenet, like Tornado to Twister or Jurassic Dinosaurs to Jurassic Park. Merry-Go-Round. Do your time travel. Try to.
Or for my cereal fans out there, Frosty Flakes to Frosted Flakes. You know what I mean?
Number 11, physicists approved. While the film isn't going for precise scientific accuracy, it is roughly based on actual science. Christopher Nolan asked physicist Kip Thorne, who worked with him on Interstellar, to read the script and assist with the concepts.
Fun fact, I actually worked with Kip. Actually, no, I didn't. I'm just what? It
That's what
sounded
you
good.
did there.
Scared for a second. You're finna listen.
I was like, okay. We got 7 minutes left. Let's see.
Let's get Kip on the phone.
Number 10, fast and reversing. That was the best I could come up with at 4 o'clock in the morning. That sounds like Fast and Furious.
Okay.
Fast and reversing. The fantastic, exhilarating car chase sequence was pulled off with absolutely no visual effects at all.
It's true.
20 of Los Angeles' top drivers were assembled and later joined by experienced stunt drivers from around the world to achieve the insane reverse action that was captured. One of the members of that team was, you said, you actually bring up in our interview, Jim Wilkie, who famously flipped the Joker truck in The Dark Knight.
I'm not gonna lie. They're at the top of their. When you talk about top of their game, those guys were at the top of their game.
Yeah. Number 9, Money Ain't a Thing. This is Christopher Nolan's most expensive original film and one of the most expensive original films in the history of films upon its release, with a production budget of $205 million.
One of the things I don't think you guys heard with that real quick before he moves on is that, again, this came from, there was no source material for this film. Normally budgets of 200 million, from 100 million, hell, 50 million aren't given for something that doesn't have a comic book or a screenplay or a playwright, some diary someone found. There's no source material for this. They were like, you see Nolan. And as we found out, his first budget was what?
6,000.
And now 205 million. Kids, can't we all dare to dream?
Yeah. Number 8, Breath of Life. Composer Ludwig Göransson incorporated Christopher Nolan's breathing as part of the score used around the antagonist in the film. The sound was achieved with Nolan breathing heavily into a microphone and Göransson manipulating it into uncomfortable sounds. And Nolan isn't the only visionary director to literally breathe their breath of life into their films. Stanley Kubrick dubbed his breathing for 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Real quick, if you don't mind, fun fact here, real quick. With Ludwig, I wanted to kind of speak to that for about 30 seconds if I could. One of the beautiful things about this, one of the first films that me and you did was Black Panther. And with Ludwig, of course, he composed that because he also worked with Michael B. Jordan on Fruitvale. So when you really talk about a tie-in to an episode, I just really love that we can really, it's almost like it's meant to be. It's like we couldn't fate Tenet. It's just,
Yeah,
you're
the
right.
synergy is like boiling up inside of me.
Right, you know what I'm saying? It just made my blood boil. Like, yeah.
Oh,
Terry!
Call back. All right, cancel Terry. Hashtag. Number 7, Hitch Slapped. Robert Pattinson stated that he drew inspiration from Christopher Hitchens for his character's accent, intonation, and mannerisms. Pattinson never uses his real London accent when playing British characters. He said he feels fake when he uses his own accent for a role. It just, if he just plays himself on screen, he feels like a fraud.
I can see where he's coming from.
Number 6, Practically Real. You will be very surprised to find out that this visually stunning, reality-bending film only contains 280 visual effects shots. This is less than most romantic comedies. This is also a low number in comparison to other Christopher Nolan projects, with The Dark Knight featuring 650 VFX shots, The Dark Knight Rises with 450, Inception had about 500, and Dunkirk had a surprisingly low 429.
Real quick about Dunkirk, real quick before you go, if I'm not mistaken here, that also had, okay, he's going to fact check me on this since I interrupted. Honorable mention that with Dunkirk, Michael Caine's voice was used in that film as well. Because he always works with Nolan.
The voice, yeah.
The voice.
Voice only,
Boom.
yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Number 5, puzzling. The word tenet originated from the Satyr Square, a puzzle that dates back to the ruins of Pompeii. It's a 5x5 square containing 5 five-letter words: satyr, arepo, tenet, opera, and rhodos. No matter what direction you rotate the square, these 5 words appear horizontally and vertically. Tenet being the only palindrome able to be read in reverse from any direction. All 5 words actually appear in the film. The film's antagonist is named Andrei Satyr. The forger responsible for the painting and Kat's former lover is named Lawrence Arepo. The security company in the film is called Rhodos. And of course, the organization that the protagonist is recruited into is called Tenet.
Awesome.
All
He actually
right.
recruited himself, but yeah.
Yeah. Number 4, really? A real 747 was purchased, crashed into a real hangar, and really exploded in the iconic scene from the film. Christopher Nolan originally planned to use miniatures, but it actually turned out to be less expensive to buy a real f***ing plane. Number 3, working in reverse. Not only did the lead actors have to perform stunts backwards, they actually had to learn how to speak in reverse for their roles. Number 2, Top Secret. And you brought this up earlier. There was so much secrecy surrounding Tenet. Robert Pattinson was only allowed to read the script in a locked room at Warner Brothers Studio. Michael Caine wasn't even allowed to read the script. He was only given his scenes to read before shooting.
No, keep reading, David, please.
Oh yes, are you talking about that? Yes. Okay, this was my number 1 new composer. This was Christopher Nolan's first time working with composer Ludwig Göransson. His go-to Hans Zimmer was busy working on Dune, a longtime passion project of his. And this actually draws a nice clean connection back to the film in our previous episode, Black Panther. Ludwig Göransson was the composer for Black Panther, which he won an Oscar for. Zimmer is actually friends with Göransson and suggested him to Nolan, which is how they ended up working together. And and they actually had to shoot the Göransson because of the
he shot it before so they can match it up as they were filming.
But during the because of the pandemic, to finish it, they actually had people doing the recordings from their homes, and he was putting them together.
The musicians. He definitely did that. And actually, I know that once they did the recording, they actually practiced, of course, nobody wants to hear this, but maybe you do, social distancing. They had to take the recording rooms down from 11 people down to 6. So that's big adjustments, man. But hey, he did it. Anytime you can make Wakanda sound good in the world of Tenet, hey, you got my vote.
That concludes Big Bites.
That's the trailer.